From the Newswatch Weather Center on the campus of Ohio University, I'm Matt Thigpen. Taking a look at it right now, temperatures, we're calming down. Winds out of the west-southwest at 5 miles per hour. As we see a high pressure build in, we'll hopefully get those winds out of there. They were a little strong and gusty today. 39 right now in Athens, cloudy skies dominating much of the region still. Seeing a few peaks as you go headed towards south, towards Ironton and Ripley. 42 down in Ironton, 41 in Jackson. And again, we're in the wide range from 42 up to 32 up to Newark, and it's a wide range. Let's take a look at the wintry mess that we had across, missed our area. It went north towards Columbus, Cambridge, and Zanesville. This is southwestern Ohio from my hometown. A thick layer of ice on that power line. And as you can see, that it was on those tree branches pretty thick. They got about 2.25 inches of ice, so that's about 1/4 of an inch of ice. Again, those clouds are dominating much of our region, but let's take a look, see if there's anything falling from there. And looking at the radar via radar scope, there is nothing across the region here in Athens. Athens is right there, and West Virginia down there. As we see, the high pressure has moved into our region. That cold front is way off the east coast, and that'll continue throughout the day on Saturday. See this weak, dry, low pressure system move into the region for our day on Sunday. That'll keep the chance for a few snow flurries moving into the region on Sunday evening, but it will be a light chance and they'll be scattered and it won't affect your drive or commute this Sunday. Taking a look at tonight across the region, 34 in Chillicothe. Again, cloudy skies across the region, 36 down in Ironton, 33 up in Cambridge, and it'll be cloudy, so you won't see that moonlight like we saw in that satellite image because those clouds are just reflecting it back up into space. Taking a look at our weekend outlook, 44 for tonight, mostly cloudy skies, 31 on Saturday evening. It'll be a chilly but dry evening. For once, we're going to get into a dry slot. 45 on Sunday. Cloudy skies. Again, there's that 30% chance of snow showers as we head into the late evening hours on Sunday as that weak low pressure system moves into the region. Taking a look at our extended forecast. Starting off the work week, 42 degrees, those chilly temperatures, morning temperatures return, but partly cloudy skies. We stay dry ahead of our next weather maker, 44 on Tuesday, 30% chance. Again, it's weak and dry. That jet stream is way up in Canada, and that is what gives us our weather. So we're way south of that, but we won't see those warm temperatures. We'll be seasonable for this time of year, 44 on Tuesday. Midweek, 43 and dry, and as we see, Turkey Day, 50 degrees, but we'll end up
Lawmakers in the Ohio State House pass a controversial abortion bill. 2 women speak out after settling their lawsuit over sexual harassment. And later, we'll have a special look at Ohio sports. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Evening, I'm Steven Hernandez. Thank you for joining us. Ohio House of Representatives voted 60-35 yesterday for an approval of a controversial abortion bill. Dubbed a heartbeat bill, it would prohibit abortion 6 weeks after conception or after a heartbeat can be detected. The bill will head to the state Senate for a vote next, with the possibility of a veto from Governor Kasich. However, with a Republican supermajority in the state legislature, the Ohio House and Senate could potentially override any veto from the governor. Jay Edwards, Ohio's 94th House District Representative, voted in favor of the bill, despite telling voters in an October debate that he fights Republicans on abortion in Columbus.
I fight all the time with Republicans in Columbus and call them hypocritical for the reason of you can't just care about a child when they're in the womb. You have to care about a child when they're outside. When you're wanting to cut Medicaid, when you're wanting to cut Medicaid expansion or freeze Medicaid expansion, when you're wanting to cut SNAP benefits or make it tougher for people to get on food stamps, you have to realize the alternatives when you're forcing women to have children.
Edwards will continue as the district's representative for at least the next 2 years after maintaining his seat in the election earlier this month. Athens Mayor Steve Patterson will serve as a Board of Directors member for the National League of Cities beginning in 2019. The National League of Cities is an advocacy group made of public officials representing municipalities across the United States. The league advocates for issues such as clean energy, sustainability plans, and bringing government control to the local level. Ohio's 15th Congressional District Representative Steve Stivers has announced plans to step down as chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee. The committee is one of the main ways Republican congressional candidates raise funds for election campaigns. Stivers has served as chairman for the past 2 years following his re-election in 2016. Chairs of the committee are allowed to serve two-year terms, and Stivers is stepping down after serving only 1 term. A former Ohio University professor and artist behind the mural on the outside of Siegfried Hall has passed away at the age of 88. James Eldridge was a university professor and painting at OU from 1967 to 2014. Eldridge was an acclaimed avant-garde painter, finishing his work in Siegfried Hall in 1966 before redesigning it in 1987, the version most students today are familiar with. 2 OU graduate students reached a settlement with the university after alleging that an English professor sexually assaulted them. Now they are speaking out. Christine Adams and Susanna Hempstead spoke with WOUB's Susan Tebben yesterday in a long-form interview about the situation. At one point, Adams insisted that the 2 of them don't hate the university and simply wanted to become better.
I think people think that we hate our department or we hate the university. We don't hate the university. We just want it to become better because we have students that we care for and because it's important to us as teachers that our students can live and learn in environments that are safe for them, that promote learning.
Adams and Hempstead received $335,000 each as a result of the settlement announced on Wednesday. Coming up next, stay tuned for a special sports edition of Newswatch where we'll take a look at Ohio University teams in action.
This is what we've all been waiting for. The postseason is finally here. Many teams that made it this far are ready to rock.
Yeah, it's win or go home for the guys on the gridiron, but Gridiron Glory still has a few more weeks before we end our season.
Yeah, we'll have you covered through week 13, and there's still football to be played until then.
Our social media team will have you covered. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube content will keep you up to date.
So, through all the excitement, remember there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
Welcome back to this special edition of Sports Friday. I'm Sports Director Thomas Garvick, and we have a loaded slate for you. We start with a little weeknight action. The Ohio football team welcomed in Mac East leading Buffalo to Peden on Wednesday, and well, the Bobcats sent a message to the top of the Mid-American Conference. The night action. Let's go. First drive of the night. Tyree Jackson keeps it himself, takes it in. That was his lone highlight of the night because after that score, well, it was all Ohio. Nathan Rourke says, on my count, guys, psych. Direct snap to Malik Irons. He pounds it in. All tied at 7. Next Ohio drive. Rourke fakes me out. He wanted a taste of the end zone. Well, he's got a full meal. Ohio up 14-7. Air Canada was just getting started. Ward splits the defense, hits Jerome Buckner in stride, and yeah, he's pretty fast. No one's catching him. Ohio up 21-17. Sneak preview. Turnover belts coming out. Jackson's pass is deflected and picked off by Jerron Hampton. Sets the Cats back in shop. They get a field goal out of the drive. Next drive for Buffalo. Jackson making a play with his legs. Gets out in the open field. He's like a small forward running the fast break in basketball. Takes this thing inside the 10 before fumble! Ohio pounces on it for the recovery. And so the offense goes back to work. Ouellette again. He had a monster night. A buck 196 on the ground. 31-10 Ohio at the break, and well, Rufus wanted more, and Rufus got more. Ouellette out of the backfield, breaks a tackle and dives into the end zone, his second score of the night, and then the icing on the cake for Ouellette. The Bulls simply could not bring this man down. Ouellette rumbles for his third score of the night. But the defense, they weren't done either. Tariq Drake makes a beautiful play on the ball for this pick. He's the newest owner of the turnover belt. Wow, they rolled 52-17. The uphill climb, though, still remains for Ohio. If they want to get to the MAC championship game, they need a win against Akron next week and losses by Buffalo and Miami to get to Detroit. While the football team is playing in cold weather, the men's basketball team is going somewhere hot. WOUB Sports online host Jessica Costello and reporter Nick Niehaus preview the team's trip to Jamaica as part of the Jamaica Classic.
Ohio men's basketball team is headed to Jamaica to take on South Florida and Loyola Marymount in the Jersey Mike's Jamaica Classic this weekend. Hi there, I'm Jessica Costello. This is Nick Niehaus for WOUB. And Nick, Ohio beat Campbell in that Monday game because of a strong second half. What adjustments did you see from the first to the second that can stay consistent this weekend?
Well, I don't know if it's as much of adjustments as it is the right player stepping up at the right time. Jason Carter did just that. He's the team's leading scorer, and he stepped up. 8 for 10 from the field, scoring 24 points. That's extremely efficient. They also only turned the ball over 6 times in the second half, which was half the amount they had in the first. If you don't waste possessions and you also shoot the way Carter did, they'll win a lot of games. But also, defensively, they stepped up. Campbell shot over 60% in the first half, and the Bobcats cut them down to 31% in the second. Those are the 3 reasons they won Monday night's game.
During that first half, they struggled offensively with a 41% field goal percentage and 6 of 14 from behind the arc. How important is it going to be to have a strong offense in this classic?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, it's all about the right players stepping up. And in the first half, they didn't really have that. There was only one player in the double digits, and that was Ben Vanderplas. He's not really an offensive leader on this team, although he can stuff the stat sheet. It's the starters that need to get the offense going, which is what we saw in the second half. Carter, as I mentioned earlier, he put up 18 in the second half. Travion Kirk and Doug Taylor each got 10 in the second, and all 3 of those came from less than 5 shots from the field. So it's a very efficient offense. They only took 4 threes in the second half too. Compare that, in the first half they took 14. So this is a team that is really good at attacking the basket. They really like to attack the basket, and that's when we see them score more.
Yeah, and just to touch on Ohio's first game, what are we going to see out of South Florida?
Well, it's gonna be a shootout. These are 2 teams that really like to score the rock. The Bobcats are putting up 89 points a game, which is astounding, but the South Florida Bulls are also putting up a large number at 77. One thing, though, is that the Bulls' defense isn't very good. They've given up 66 points in 2 games against teams that are much of a lesser caliber than the Bobcats. So I think the Bobcats, if they finish at the rim and hold the Bulls defensively, they have a really good shot at winning this game.
And just like always, we'll have you covered here at WOUB for all things men's basketball. For Nick Niehaus, I'm Jessica Costello for Bobcat Showcase.
Ohio's game against South Florida actually just went final. It's funny, Nick said that it was going to be a shootout. While South Florida, they rolled Ohio 73-46. Tough loss for the men's team. But while they just played today, the women's team, they were in action yesterday against Binghamton. An early start time of 11 a.m. for a special event. They had the combo, and they were having the time of their lives. Amani Burke had a strong game. She pretty much got to the basket at will. Nice finish there, and then again attacking the rim. She finished with 14 points, and while she was getting buckets, these kids were showing off the dance moves. And you know who dances with the ball? Erica Johnson. Between the legs, step back for 3 is good. Johnson, 5 of 9 from distance in this one. Hot start to the season for her. Cats are rolling. There were cartwheels, plus Rufus handing out some high fives. He's also loving the Ohio defense. Burrs forces a turnover. CeCe Hooks leads the break and finds Burke, who finishes for the N1. Then Hooks was like, well, I want in on the scoring party too, guys. And so she created for herself. Johnson finds Burris, who misses the layup, but Hooks is there to clean up the mess. Strong putback there, and then Hooks doing what she does best. She makes a play in the passing lane, and she drives all the way to the hole for the finish and the foul. Ohio, they roll 86-49. Man, the women's team is rolling into their matchup against Eastern Kentucky on Sunday, and WUB Sports Online host Jessica Costello is back to preview that game on Sunday with reporter Brian Kerp.
The Ohio women's basketball team is continuing their non-conference schedule as they host Eastern Kentucky on Sunday at 1 o'clock at the Convocation Center. Brian, who have you seen on the court that's been a major factor in Ohio's offensive success?
Well, I've actually seen a lot of players that are making contributions for the Bobcats so far. They're led by Gabby Burris. She had a career-high 23 points on Sunday against UNC Wilmington, and on top of that, she was named the MAC East Division Player of the Week. And they've also had contributions from Cece Hooks and Amani Burke. And lastly, arguably their top player off the bench is Erica Johnson. She had 11 points for the Bobcats against UNC Wilmington. Coach Bob Bolton discussed on Thursday how Erica has been such a key contributor to this team thus far.
Watching Erica, I mean, that was always her. She's always handled it well. She's always passed it well. She has as you're getting to know her, she has a very unselfish personality. She's a very team-oriented person, and that bodes well for your point guard.
And you talked a lot about them. They have a lot of talent on this team. So what's the key for the Bobcats to have a strong season?
Well, Bobcats simply have to take smart shots. They have the talent to put a lot of points on the board. They just need to have good shot selections.
If you continue to take good shots, good things will happen. And you might make them or you might miss them, but you got to grade your offense on the quality of shots that you're getting.
And obviously, Ohio's got a lot to look forward to this season. So for Brian Kerp, I'm Jessica Costello for WOUB.
Tip-off for that game is set for 1 p.m. at the Convo, but if you can't make it out to the game, then check out WOUB.org and our YouTube page for highlights. And then right after the break, an Ohio volleyball player etched her name into the record book forever. The record she broke and her story when Newswatch returns.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
I love PBS because at the heart of everything PBS does is education.
I use PBS not only in my home, but also in my classroom.
It's kind of the idea of being the great equalizer for learning and for education.
I'm a lifelong learner, and PBS has always been part of that journey for me.
I love PBS because PBS supports teachers.
They know what works for kids and what's best for kids, and that's why I love PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TVs play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Welcome back to Sports Friday. I'm Thomas Garverick. Bumps, sets, and spikes are all nice and all, but how about aces? Redshirt senior Jamie Kasorek spent years trying to perfect her jump serve, and earlier this year, it paid off. The story of the new all-time ace record holder at Ohio.
Service ace Kasorek. She has just broken the ace record.
You want to know what breaking a record feels like? good does that
Oh, I just had to wait for the home crowd. Are you kidding? I did that on purpose. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm glad it happened at home, first of all. I'm glad she got to do it in front of all these fans that have seen her accumulate so many of those aces at home.
So it was only fitting that the fans got to experience it with her too.
I mean, that's just kind of icing on the cake. It's always been in the back of my mind, and then it became a reality this season.
A reality that almost didn't happen.
It's been quite a journey for her in the last 13 months. I mean, 13 months ago, almost to the day, she had surgery.
She was in no rush to come back to break the record. She just wanted to be there with her teammates.
Once you just kind of relieve yourself of that pressure and just kind of play for your teammates and yourself, then things that are bigger than you, then everything just kind of falls in place.
And so with humility came happiness.
I'm happy for her. I mean, she's been a kid that I've enjoyed coaching. It's truly been my privilege and honor to coach her the last 5 years, and I'm just happy for any success that she earns.
5 years of success that left her lasting legacy on the program.
Service ace Kasorik.
Kasorik broke the record with her 163rd career ace earlier this season. She currently sits at 171 and counting. Counting because Kasorik and Ohio squared off with the Northern Illinois Huskies in the first round of the MAC tournament last night. Reporter Michael Roth has the highlights of the team's win.
It was do or die for the Ohio volleyball team when they opened up MAC tournament play against Northern Illinois. I'm WOUB sports reporter Michael Roth, and I traveled to Oxford, Ohio to see if the Bobcats could keep their season going along.
The motto is survive and advance in these tournaments, but it was less about surviving and more about advancing for the Bobcats tonight. They dominated early on, holding the Huskies to a negative hit percentage for the first 2 sets.
Our back row defense was really good. I think we blocked well, but I think our back row defense was just outstanding throughout the entire evening. And it's something we've been working on a lot.
Senior Jamie Kasorik is an emotional leader for this team, and she's kicking it into high gear for a MAC tournament run that will be her last in a Bobcat uniform.
I'm just like such an energy ball, like drive, like aggression. And so they refer to me as postseason Jamie, because it's like this alter ego that I have that just like comes out with like this crazy aggression.
Fellow senior Stephanie Ullman had 14 kills on only 18 attempts tonight. She's just enjoying every game as it comes with her teammates.
So my big thing is just taking one game at a time and not overlooking anyone and enjoying every moment that I have left with my teammates.
To finish off the Huskies, the Bobcats took a long third set, 32-30. It was actually the exact same score that they lost the crucial 4th set against the Huskies in a match they would go on to lose in 5 sets, the only time these two teams matched up in the regular season.
I would have much rather we would have won 25-21, just to be clear, because we were up 24-21.
The Bobcats will face Ball State at this same place at 7 p.m. on Friday night to see if they can continue their season. And if they win, they will be facing Miami on their home court on Saturday evening. For WOUB Sports, I'm Michael Roth.
As Michael just said, the team is getting ready to square off with Ball State in the next few minutes. To see if the team can keep their season going, visit WOUB.org for a recap of the matchup. And coming up after the break, an inspiring story about a field hockey player recovering from injury as she prepares to run across the country. Her story when Newswatch returns. And here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Box. This is a box. a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
This is what we've all been waiting for. The postseason is finally here. And many teams that made it this far are ready to rock.
Yeah, it's win or go home for the guys on the gridiron, but Gridiron Glory still has a few more weeks before we end our season.
Yeah, we'll have you covered through week 13, and there's still football to be played until then.
Our social media team will have you covered. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube content will keep you up to date.
So, through all the excitement, remember there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory. An Ohio University student is training to run across the country for the second time. Reporter Caitlin Coolidge tells us how this student is training despite many obstacles in her life.
Lighting a candle and covering her eyes with a heat pad is how Ilona Hartman mitigates the effects she has from her third concussion, and is how she's getting well enough to train for her 4,000-mile run across the country. She plans to eventually get back to running so she can run from Baltimore to San Francisco this summer. The Dutch international student wanted to tackle this run across the U.S. to support her baby cousin, who had cancer, last year, but her concussion she received from a field hockey practice forced her to cancel the run. Instead, she began focusing on just getting through each day.
Since I was struggling so much with my health, I decided to choose for myself for the next couple of weeks. Just focus on recovery and focusing on classes. Going to class was kind of challenging at the beginning of the semester.
Ilona was not able to look at a computer screen for too long, let alone go for a jog. And days after the injury, another tragedy struck. Ilona's baby cousin, her reason for signing up for this run, passed away. Hartman was devastated.
It felt unreal at the beginning. It was kind of just like one of those famous or infamous black holes.
But Hartman is not letting her injury keep her from her coast-to-coast run. She says the memory of her baby cousin and her friends help her stay motivated, especially her friend Sarah.
She has been an extra motivation and inspiration for me to continue, get better, training, and to raise money together.
Now, Ilona is confident she will complete the run this coming summer and has a more positive outlook on life.
I still have my eyesight. Like, I can still see the world and talk to people, and there is always something positive.
Hartman will begin her run on June 16th and will make it to San Francisco on August 3rd, all in the name of her baby cousin and families who are affected by cancer. For Stephen Hernandez, I'm Caitlin Coolidge, reporting for Newswatch.
Stephen Hernandez contributed to this report. Visit Iona's Facebook page, Iona's 4K for